Good evening, my EquinEdge crew. What's up, Brady? How you doing, brother? Oh, I can't hear you. We're gonna wait for Brady for a second because I can't hear him. Hey, Gary. Hey, Michael. John. How you guys doing? No, I still can't hear you. Brady's having technical difficulties, so we're gonna hold on a second. How's my crew on the chat? I'll talk to you. I have 3 of you at the moment. How are you guys doing? How's the week been? How was last weekend? I think Brady's gonna call in and we'll get him back on the line. I think he's having issues with his mic or headphones. Hey, Sully. Chrissy, welcome. We missed you too. We're glad you're back.
Two. There we go.
Oh, you're back. There you go. Hold on. Now I gotta connect my headphones real quick. Hold on a second. We're having
Can you guys hear me? Give us a shout if you can hear us.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're good to go now.
All right, cool. I think they can hear. Gary can hear us because I asked how the weekend was, and Keith said he can hear you, so I think we're good. Welcome. It's good to see you guys. John said audio is good. Sweet. Okay. I got my headphones started having issues too, so we're just having all types of technical difficulties today. Good to see you, brother. How you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm pretty good. Just busting through the week. It's already Thursday. Looking forward to the weekend. Been spending a lot of time in a lot of meetings at work and trying to catch a few races here and there when I can. And so I finally got some new decorations up here in my office. It's Arlington Park. So we're going to go to Arlington at least one more time this year before the rumored shutdown. I heard that they got a bid from the Chicago Bears today. So the Bears might be moving out to Arlington International Racecourse to be the Arlington Bears. But I hope that they find it. I hope somebody comes along with some deep pockets and saves Arlington. Come on, it's a sacred place.
Oh, man. You know what's been cool about this week? I was talking with you earlier in the week, right? Is this Royal Ascot meet. Like, I cannot wait till we have this on EquinEdge. Like, I know we were texting on, we're at Thursday, which is crazy, right? We were texting on Monday or Tuesday and just listening to the commentary on, is amazing. And then you see these horses where it's like, who owns this horse? Oh, just the Queen, Your Majesty. I mean, just the Queen owns the horse.
I'll tell you what, I tweeted out earlier, I like that with American racing, the horses break and they try to get good position for the lead. It seems like every race over in Europe, they all just kind of walk out of the gate and then like, okay, let's just gallop for the first 7 furlongs and then we'll run the last furlong as fast as we can. Way different racing style. One thing I do love though is like a 33 horse field. I mean,
there was a 30 horse field I saw like yesterday or on Tuesday. I couldn't believe it. That was crazy.
It's wild. And so, I mean, just think about that. It took us how many, 148 or years or so to get a gate for the Kentucky Derby to all be won for 20 horses. And they're out there, the 33 horse gate or even more. Who knows? But and that part of it's pretty entertaining. And then one thing I don't understand about international racing is if you have the 4 horse, that does not mean he's breaking from the 4 hole. So like every time I'm trying to watch a race at Ascot or, somewhere else, I'm like, okay, where's the 4? Wait, he's on the total other side. He's breaking from the 18 post. Can anybody answer for us why that happens? I'd really like to know because I try to handicap a race and we bet the race and then I can't see my horse. You got to know what color the jockey's silks are and what kind of cap he's wearing.
Yeah, it's funny. I was listening to TVG the other day and they talked about it and I totally can't remember what she said, but Australia does that too. But in the PPs, usually they will post what the post position is versus the number of the horse. I think it has something to do with how they assign the number of the draw or something. Yeah, Gary, thanks. Everybody hit the like button for us. And I mean, we totally changed subjects, so sorry, but Arlington might get sold, might not, right? Or getting sold. Somebody hopefully buys it. Jeffrey said that Arlington racing in the summertime is no bueno now. You grew up there. I mean, did it used to have better racing than it does today?
I think what has happened with the rumors of it being sold over the last couple of years is I think a lot of the horsemen started making plans to go elsewhere. And, the purse sizes, aren't that attractive right now. They even cut the million down to 600,000 this year. And so, everything's taken quite a bit of a discount. And so I think the horsemen are just trying to look after their best interests as they should. And so hopefully we'll get a lot of EquinEdge followers up at the Arlington Million this year. I know I'm going to be there with a couple of my good buddies, Greg and Eric and Alec. And so we're going to have a heck of a time for one last Arlington Million and hopefully see some history there. But yeah, that's, we're going to get Saratoga going here soon. We're going to get Del Mar going here soon, Arlington. And so, I feel like we've been focusing on, Belmont and Churchill through the Triple Crown season. And, now some trainers are starting to make some moves. A couple of their horses are taking some breaks. And so they're really keying up for these big summer meets. But I think we've got to talk about Mr. Tip. I mean, we'd be damned if we didn't.
Oh man, that was awesome. I just, I I hope that our viewers bet Mr. Tip. But I did, and I shared on Twitter. I mean, I talked him up so much, at our show last weekend towards the end. And it was funny because I think I showed it to you. I actually put $500 to win on Mr. Tip. And then I looked at the race and I watched the show and we talked up the 3 and you kind of talked up the 3. So I'm like, man, we did not like that 4 horse at all. And I'm like, I need to bet the exacta here. So I put a couple $100 on that exacta and man, that was nice. I had not played much in the last month, so it's always nice to take a little bit of time off and like come back and find a play like that, right? And just hammer away. I mean, it's like you might as well play your best bet. What day? It would have been that was last Saturday, so it would have been the 12th at Churchill, and it was like race 9 or 10. Because I almost hit the pick 6, man. If which paid really good, but I didn't have that one horse against Juliet Foxtrot. We had, I bet Vespa, and then I had Hendy Woods. But yeah, Mr. Tip paid $10.80 to win, and then the 3 winner pool paid $6.20. I mean, It was this 4 horse. Look at, I mean, that's the craziness of the morning line, right? It goes off as 2-1, and EquinEdge had this horse at 12-1. And the 2, Mr. Tip at 7-2 from 5-1, and the 3 was 6-5. Winner pool trying to come off of that maiden claimer and jump in a starter allowance and ran a great race. Mr. Tip just came up on the outside and he just kind of went right past. Handy the 6. I thought I was a little bit scared right at the end there, but it came 2-3, which the exacta paid great. Paid $75 for $2, which was crazy.
Yeah, that was a great hit, man. I remember that. I was really rooting for you. And I'll tell you what, I got mad respect for your ticket structuring. And that's something that a lot of guys could really take a hint on handicapping is only part of it. You had the race handicapped, but tell the viewers a little bit about your ticket structures on how you decided how much of my bankroll I'm going to allocate to an exacta or a try or something like that. Because it's one thing to handicap a race, but it's another thing to bet it right.
Yeah, and Scotty's taught me to bet the saver. I almost just bet Mr. Tip to win and then a 2 over a 3 exacta. And, I was like, I'm just going to bet Mr. Tip to win. And I'm like, no, I'm going to bet half on Mr. Tip to win. And then I'm with my exacta, I bet $50, the 2 over the 3 cold. Then I did box the 2 and the 3 for $50 because I really thought it was between the 2 and the 3. So that was my saver bet. And Scotty really taught me that is like, put a little bit of a saver in there. And if the saver would have hit this thing, a $50 exacta, it was a $50 box. So a $50 exacta would have paid, it still would have paid huge. I'm guessing this would have paid $80 for $2, and so I still would have made good money, but I bet Mr. Tip to win, and then I bet the cold exacta 2 over the 3, and then my saver was the 2-3 exacta box. And, I really thought he was going to win. So I put about 60% of my bankroll bet on this race on Mr. Tip, and then did some exactas and some boxes. And Karina, I doubled into the 5 as well, which was a nice double. But you're right on ticket structure. And Jeffrey, I mean, betting strategies, ticket structure are so important. And I still make mistakes. I mean, I think we all do, right? I wish that I didn't, but it was fun. I mean, that was, I singled the 6 to start the pick 6, and then I singled Mr. Tip. My ticket was only $60 for my pick 6. I wish I would have added more coverage, I guess, in the Juliet Foxtrot race, but because the pick 6 paid, I think it paid amazing. Because look at the pick 6 paid 20 grand. That was crazy. Pick 5, look at the pick 5 paid 27 grand. And we knew, remember I talked about that this pick 3 was going to pay really good. The 11 ended up winning here. We talked about this. I mean, this race was pretty wide open. And then we were against Juliet Foxtrot, Minted ended up winning some. And then to Mr. Tip, I mean, that pick 3 paid, look at that, $500 for that pick 3, which is crazy.
Yeah, well done, man. That's always cool, and not the first time you've done that. You just keep on doing it. It seems like every other week, and so we got to put it on blast when it happens, bro. That's awesome, and especially this time throughout the summer. We're not getting the top grade 1 races right now. So be conservative with your ticket structuring and your bets. We want to make sure we've got bankroll for Del Mar and Saratoga and Breeders' Cup and so on and so forth. So pick out your spot plays, especially this time of the year. I haven't been playing a whole lot. I did a little bit today, but just spotty here and there. So really trying to be disciplined throughout the summertime and waiting for the right opportunities to really take a swing. And that was definitely a great place to take a swing.
Yeah, no, and nice hit, Eric, with the middle pick 5 there, and looks like Karina hit the double. And that's what I think you and we talk about this. We're just here to show the tool, and I like, if I really like something, I will always share it, and it's funny, my girlfriend watches the show and everything, and when she's like, I love it when you get so excited about a horse. It's very funny because she's like, you get so animated, and I'm like, well, that's the horse, I guess I'm making sure I bet, and we've talked about this a lot of times. I will put those bets in. I didn't with Mr. Tip, but sometimes I'll put those bets in to start the day, right? Yeah. Especially if you're having a down day, don't not bet your best bet of the day, right? So sometimes I'll go and just put the bets in to start. So, well, correct. Cool. Go ahead.
I said, put the bet in first. If you have a strong opinion, you don't want to say, hey, I've got $100 bankroll for today. And then as we try to build our bankroll, at least that's what we call it, for the first 5 races of the day, and then all of a sudden you're out of $100 by the time race 8 rolls around. That was your strongest opinion. Sometimes I would, if I have a set bankroll amount, let's say it's $100 for the day, I can allocate 50 of that to the early races. Then that only gives me $50 to allocate to my top selection of the day if I don't hit on any of those early races. So instead of that, I've been trying to implement this more this year of, okay, I'm just going to wait, kind of like Preakness Day. I was like, I'm just going to wait until race 7 until I felt very comfortable and confident on a bet, and then we're going to hammer away. So, but hey, that's why the world goes around, and that's why everybody's got a different style, and that's what makes this so fun. But let's talk about ticket structuring a little bit more. We're always open to comments, viewers, of things that you guys would like us to go over a little bit more often, because I think it's a topic that doesn't get touched on nearly enough. Anybody can tout a horse. Anybody can say, I really like this one in race 6. But how to properly structure your wagers is by far the most important thing. And so we could definitely spend some more time on that for sure. And I think John asked, are we going to Saratoga? I might try to make it one weekend. I'm just not sure which one it's going to be yet, because I'm going to try to make it out to Del Mar, try to hit up Arlington, and then Saratoga. The summer's going to go by quick, but if we do go, we'll let you know.
I want to go to both. You and I need to chat because I want to hit Del Mar and Saratoga. We went to Del Mar and they weren't racing, so I'm 100% going to Del Mar for sure. just like I've kind of have that tentative on some potential weekends. I would love to go to Saratoga. I just don't have that one's not as confirmed for this summer. But yeah, and you're right on ticket structure. And for me, I really like to try to find a single. I try to tell myself if I'm betting horizontals, if I'm playing a sequence, like I really like especially I love to play the pick five. And if I'm looking at 5 races, I really like to force myself to make a decision. Like if I'm looking at 5 races and I'm playing, like, especially if you play win bets, like make a decision. Like just make a decision. You're not going to be right every time and you're not going to be wrong every time. Hey, Cindy. So for me, that's one of the things that I like to do. I really like to force myself to single because it's like go with your decision. And if you can't make a decision, maybe don't play the sequence, right? I mean, and I like to find sequences that I really like and then just kind of hammer away on them and play the like $5 pick threes, that might be $5 for, 50 cents, but then play it for $50, and those can pay good. If you're going to play a $50 pick 4 or $80 pick 5, you can also play bigger pick threes where you can find a good sequence.
Yeah, I agree 100% on that.
Yeah, and Chrissy says, she finds it hard to construct tickets with smaller bankrolls. And not made of money. I usually bring about $200 for the whole day when I'm, and Chrissy, what I would say there is like find the sequences that you like, and like I was just saying, like find a sequence of a pick 3 and single a horse, add a couple horses in one leg and maybe 2 to 3 horses in the next leg. And you can play that for $6 to $8, and play it 3 times or 4 times, play it for $2. And maybe that that's a $24 ticket, and find the value, right? Find the value. For me, it was Mr. Tip. I played a really cheap pick 6. I had 2 singles. It was $60 and it didn't hit, but, and I played really cheap pick 3s because I just went, slim in 2 of the legs. I found a single and then against Juliet Foxtrot was just too deep. I didn't have the 1, so it didn't really matter, but that's how I like to do it. Like find the sequences where you find value. If you're just adding the favorites, like you're killing your value. And not to say that there's anything wrong with that. Just know, like, I'm not going to pay a bunch, find that sequence where you like your single is not the favorite. And then another leg where, you think the favorite might be vulnerable. And that's where you and I, we thought Juliet Foxtrot was vulnerable, right? We didn't have the horse that won, the 1 horse, but that's how I like to do it when I construct my tickets.
Yeah, I echo everything you just said there. And thanks for asking this, Christy. We're happy to talk about this. In pick 5s, I like to spread because I'm always playing a base wager of 50 cents. It's very seldom where I'll play like a $5 or $10 pick 5. On big days, yes, that happens. But where I'll play the bigger dollar minimum, like a $5 or a $10 wager, will be on a pick 4 or a pick 3 sequence. Sometimes I'll even hammer like a straight $50 pick 3 or higher if I really like a sequence. How many times do we go 4 out of 5 on a pick 5? How many times do you go 5 out of 6 on a pick 6? So I took most of my bankroll away from maybe just pick 5s and started playing pick 3s and pick 4s. I know some people in the industry may disagree with that because there's typically a higher takeout with pick 3s and pick 4s, but there's typically fewer tickets live in pick 3s because people single a lot more often. And so let's say that we're talking about, the last 5 races at Belmont, and I really hate the last race. Oftentimes it's a claiming race. Oftentimes the last race of the day is a very cheap race with a bunch of horses that don't like to win. And so it makes it very difficult to properly handicap that race if you're not confident. But I will like the 4 races leading up to that. And so instead of hitting the all button in the pick 5, why don't you just play an intermediate pick 3? Of those 5 races, pick the 3 that you like the best in order of sequence and play it for a higher dollar minimum. Maybe hit the pick 3 20 times. Your ticket, if you go 2 by 1 by 2, your ticket still for $20 is going to be $80, just like it would be for the pick 5s that we create. And so backing up your bet with like a mini pick 3 is a great idea. And I'll tell you what, it saved me so much. Last summer at Saratoga, I hit a straight 4-singled $45 pick 4, and that paid like 8,000. And so, you know, it's a $45 wager. I can't tell you how many times I've taken swings with pick 5s that were like 144 to $200, and you know, you miss one leg and you're out. Whereas in this, you're in it, and you know, you got to do the win parlay. You know, do the math. You know, if you can beat one or two of the favorites in the sequence and toss them off your card, you know, it can pay. And in that sequence, I think it was 2 Chad Brown runners and then a Linda Rice odds-on favorite in the last. And so, I mean, you know, it wasn't like we were getting bombs home, but we just picked the right opportunity, structured the ticket well, did the handicapping, and it all came together for a very low bankroll.
Yeah, and you know, Eric, he likes to only play daily doubles when, you know, when he's playing. He never bets the daily double that pays less than $50 if he's working with low bankroll. So he's finding prices in back-to-back legs. Find 2 horses you like that are prices, you know, and you know, again, you know, you can bet a $10 daily double there or $2 daily double, whatever you want to do, and you're gonna get a good payday. You know, $2 could turn into 50, right? So it's, I mean, I think, and Karina asked about books. I don't know.
I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab one.
Yeah. Oh, well, there we go. Brady's going to grab one. There's a lot of difference of opinions around ticket structuring and how you do that. I mean, I know there's a group, and Chrissy, you play in group tickets. There's a group where they like to do, and I think, DRF has this where they do like the ABC ticket structure and how you put together multiple cheap tickets and stuff like that. So there's multiple ways to do it. You know, I think the from a structuring standpoint, the concept of like spread makes your ticket really expensive, and then, you know, you can kill your value. You know, if you're playing a pick 3 and you're like 3 deep, 4 deep, 4 deep, like, I hope you have some prices on there, because you're not going to win much and your ticket's going to cost a lot of money. So what'd you find?
I found Money Secrets at the Racetrack by Barry Meadow. And so this is a good book for at least getting started if you're a beginner or an advanced player. And so I've read it a couple of times now. And then the other advice I give you is just watch our show and we'll start talking about it more often. You know, because I'm a visual learner like that, but it just talks about sometimes the inefficiencies of structuring these tickets. And so maybe when we go through the show tonight, we'll find a sequence where it's like, hey, you know, play the pick 5, but also play this sequence that's a little bit short of it. But great questions, guys. That's awesome. Plenty of
and
Gary, learn for all of us.
Yeah, and Gary, I get it. I like the pick 5 takeouts usually better on the pick 5 too. They're hard though. Pick 5s are so hard to hit. You know, I'm not a fan of really the 20-cent pick 6. Now that I see dollar pick 6s or the $2 pick 6, I like, you know, it forces you to like play and make decisions and not go deep. I just feel like there's more value on those. But I'm with you, Gary, on the pick 5s. But it's hard, you know, when you do it, and from, you know, you can make a lot more because they pay a lot more. So I get it.
I think Scotty needs to write a book. Hey, Scotty, if you're listening, start the book. Let's go.
Yeah, John, that's what I was saying. You know, find in your pick 3 your singles, not the favorite. Most people know this about me. I toss favorites. Well, we just did it. We tossed that 4 horse. We were talking last week with the Mr. Tip race, and you were talking about a horse, and I'm like, I don't even see the horse because I'd already eliminated it. And like, I love tossing the favorite or singling a horse, and I love just tossing them and not even putting them on my ticket, because why waste the money if you don't like the horse when it's a favorite? Like, that just kills your value. Like, you're adding a horse you don't even like that's a favorite. Like, I'd rather just lose. So that's why I just toss it. You know, Eric says never spend less than 32 or more than 72 on a serious pick 6 without sharing. You know, yeah, cool. All right, should we jump in? Junior, welcome. Good to see you, brother. We're covering Belmont Churchill again. The title of the show, what was Belmont Churchill 2.0 since we did it last week?
Oh my gosh. So this is crazy. So I'm on my phone right now for the microphone and the audio or for the video because for some reason it wasn't working on the computer. And I'm on a work computer. And all of a sudden, we got this new kind of like umbrella software and it starts blocking sites, like content blocking. Every single horse racing site is blocked except for EquinEdge.
Really?
So I tried all the providers. I've tried DRF, I tried Equibase, I'm trying like TVG, and all of those are blocked, so nobody say anything. But EquinEdge is still working for me.
Yeah, Chrissy. I mean, I think, again, I think if I like to box the saver bets, and I will sometimes do a cold exacta and then I will box. That's what I did with Mr. Tip last weekend. I think even with smaller, I mean, what I would just say is like, find your opinions and try to find value. And when you find value, meaning that you like horses that aren't favorites or everything, those are where you just make decisions. Because this is the thing I've learned. You're not going to be right every time. It doesn't matter whether a horse is a favorite or not. We're going to be right sometimes or we're going to be wrong. But make yourself make a decision. Don't just spread or box. Again, like if you like the Mr. Tip, the 2 over the 3, bet it, and then you can box it as like a saver bet, like box the 2 and 3. So but give yourself, bet the 2 cold over the 3 for $4 and then do a $1 saver where you're saving, or a $2 saver, right? So use your opinion and make a decision and bet that way. That's the way I like to do it. Even with the smaller bankroll. Again, I think the key is like, just try to make decisions. Junior says use straight win bets. Yeah. If you have an opinion, and you can just do a $1 or $2 bet, and again, don't spread or just box a bunch of horses, if you don't have an opinion. That's tough. I mean, and if you add if you add favorites in there, your value's coming down. So, we're only a half an hour in, so
we might be here until midnight. Yeah, we might have to start doing one track, let's
all right, let's start at Belmont and then we'll go to Churchill and we'll probably be here for 90 minutes again, but that's okay. So, for everybody who knows, I think weather's going to be okay. New York in the afternoon looks a little iffy, but we're going to handicap this as if it's going to be dry. It's going to be hot in Kentucky. I saw it's going to be in the 90s. It's going to be in like the 90s here in Seattle. But we stuck with Churchill and Belmont, mainly because there's not Scotty's going to do the Golden Hour in Santa Anita and Golden Gate this weekend. So just cover some other sequences and, not crazy big races, but both had good cards, we thought, and just like some good deep fields. So Belmont starts off in the 6th with a New York Stallions Stakes for 3-year-old fillies. I thought this was a tough race. I mean, I did. I was trying to find and make some decisions. They're going 7 furlongs on the turf. So, interesting. I think there might be 2 races that are 7 furlongs here, but these are for that New York bred, as you can see. Where'd you land, brother? I mean, Scotty's top pick's only 11%.
Yeah, and the top pick is also coming out of the strongest races by far. This Ava's Grace horse, the 10, is coming out of an average SOR of 74. Next highest horse is a 62. She's coming out of graded stakes, the Adirondack, the Fantasy, grade 2 and grade 3, respectively, and coming down to a non-graded stakes, going 7 furlongs, 1 turn, which they may think is her best distance. And she's been competitive in these other graded stakes. And so I see no reason why Ava's Grace shouldn't go out and get the early lead and turn them away at Belmont like we see so often. Let's just look at the last 3 workouts for Ava's Grace. I mean, look at these. First out of 83, second out of 46, second out of 64. Diodoro is absolutely blistering this horse in the morning, and I think he probably expects Avis Grace to do that in the afternoon. Whenever I can find a lone speed situation, and there is a little bit of other speed in this race, but I think it's a lot cheaper speed than what Avis Grace is going to try to do on Saturday. And so for my ticket, I was willing to single up the 10. I did give two other horses a look. I did look at Proper Grammar, the 2. This Clement horse that Rosario is going to be riding off of his maiden score, which was at the maiden claiming level. I just usually don't like trusting horses that just break their maiden and jump right to a stakes. That's a tough. I'd love to see a statistic on that about how often horses coming out of maiden wins do not go on to win a second time next time out, especially when they're going off of a stakes race. I think we might have gone over. It's like 12% of maidens win next time out, but now we're going to stakes, so the percentages have to be even less. And then I did look at Shaker Shack, the 3. Jose Ortiz is up, and this horse is is also going to be showing speed, coming off of a win at Aqueduct on the dirt as well, going 6.5 furlongs. And so this horse is the closest one to Avis Grace that I can see, but from a straight class perspective, is still being beat by 18 points on the SOR. So for me, I was all over Avis Grace and ready to move on. What did you think?
Yeah, and before we jump in there, yeah, you guys are right. Golden Gate's meet did end. I think Jeffrey, it's just the meet's done. I'm not sure when they open back up. We'll have Pleasanton, which opens up for the fair meet, and then I'm guessing they're gonna have Los Al daytime. I've just been kind of trying to get back into racing. It's been so busy at work, but and then we'll have Del Mar that opens up in mid-July in about a month. But Scotty is going to do, I'm almost positive, you guys, he's going to cover Santa Anita. So look for that this weekend. I know we had some people asking why we weren't going to talk Santa Anita closing day, but I think Scotty's going to do it. So, I thought that, the 10 is, I tried to figure out Avis Grace. I mean, morning lines 5-2, great job by David. I can't remember his last name, but he does an amazing job with the morning line. The thing is, she's only 11%. And I'm like, she looks like she towers over this field. She's been running in a grade 3 fantasy and almost won on the lead. It was only a 6-horse field. And then, here is 70, here is 74 after she broke her maiden at Ellis Park. So first time turf. I thought the interesting thing with her on the turf, I love GSR Plus. Look at her top distance on the turf, 7 furlongs, and we are going 7 furlongs. That to me was very interesting. Never been on the turf, and look at that. She gets to jump on at 7 furlongs. I think she's going to be tough. She might be the single here, to be honest. I thought that the 8, she's a Dirty Dancer. Oh, Irad's riding again. When did Irad come back?
Today.
He was hurt. Oh, did he?
Today was his first day back. Yep.
Nice. I did notice that. I was looking at the races. The thing about her I thought was interesting is I thought she would like the turf. She's, a little bit of a better turf number. She's kind of both sides. She'd been running in the dirt quite a bit and then stretches out really on the turf here. There's a lot of front end speed in this race between the 3, 6, 8, and 10. They're all in Scotty's picks. And so, the morning line for Rudy Rod's 7-1 versus 12-1, you have Irad. I think she's a little bit interesting. Outside of that, I didn't really like the 2 either. I wasn't really a fan of the 4 with the GSR drop. I was with you on the 3. The interesting thing here, I think that she's going to take a lot of money because she won this New York Stallion race here, and it was only a 52 though. And so when you think about that, Avis Grace is definitely the class of the class here. I think the 3 is going to take money. I just don't know if she's good enough. She couldn't win here in a 46 optional claims. She couldn't win in a 56. Then she does win the stakes race at 6.5 on the dirt, but that the SOR was less. So that kind of threw me off with the 3. That's it, man. I think I didn't like the 7 because it was jumping maiden claimer into stakes too. I think the 10 might be a single. I think you and I are both maybe thinking that. To me, I thought the 8 was a little bit interesting. I know you thought the 3. So it's really, I think, Scotty's picks. Cindy likes the 6 a little bit. Velasquez for Rudy Rod. Speed again. There's horses going to go the front end here. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, there's going to be a lot of speed. I also think class will play into that, though. I think the thing with the 6, when I look at this, I'm like, it's coming out of a 62 and a 58, cutting back here around at 7 furlongs at Belmont in a 58, briefly dueled lead, and tired badly. I mean, I worry about that a little bit with the 6 because there is a lot of speed here. Would just be my perspective on the 6. Anything on your end, Brady, before we move on?
Nope. It was just the 10 for me there, Ava's Grace. I think it frees up a lot for some other legs that are going to require some coverage.
We'll start with 84, see what it tells us. It says 10 and 3. We'll come back and we'll find out where we're going to single. Well, it really wants to spread here in the 7th race. Climbing race on the turf. These are a bunch of winners. These are tough races at Belmont. They truly are. What'd you think here?
I agree with the ticket generator in the sense that we definitely need to spread here. This is a leg where I couldn't really find a whole lot of clarity. And the first thing that triggers that in my mind is when I look at the EE morning lines and I see that nobody's really lower than 9-2. We have a couple of 9-2s. We have a couple of 5-1s. So that goes off in my head as, wow, this is a race where we're really going to have to take a look at with a microscope if we're going to try to find a short horse or only go 2 or 3 deep here. I ended up going 5 deep, and I felt like that was enough coverage, but I also felt like you could go a little bit more in this leg. It's the cheapest race in the sequence, if I'm not mistaken. And so, actually, sorry, the last race is $25,000. So this is the second cheapest race, and it's at the claiming level. So I ended up landing on the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 here. And the 5 was the top win percentage. This is Rosario and Maker. This horse is, coming out of a 64 SOR race. So if he runs something similar to what he ran last time, should be good enough to be right there. I'm not going to say good enough to win, but I'm going to say good enough to be right there at the end. The next horse that I looked at was the 6, Noble Thought. And any horse that Jose Lascanzo is riding right now on the turf is a must use. You have to consider the way that he's riding these horses, and he's getting horses home at prices. Last Saturday, my goodness, I mean, wasn't it? He had like a 15-1 shot, an 8-1, and numbers maybe in between there. The guy is absolutely on a hot streak right now on the turf, and is still not getting as much respect from the betting window as what I think he should. And so I expect that to catch up as the summer goes on. But half off to Lascano. He's really took a turn for the better here, especially with Ortiz being out the last couple of weeks, who I thought was the best turf rider in New York. So I think that Noble Thought has a big chance here, and I think he has the best jockey in the race right now as far as current form goes. I use the 7 Mo Gotcha. This is the Scotty long shot that Manny Franco is going to be riding. This horse was interesting because he does show a lot of speed, and I do like being forwardly placed on this Belmont turf course. The number 8 Street Copper. This is who Jose Ortiz is going to be riding and has finished second in his last 3 races. And so he's been knocking on the door, and I hope he's just not one of those horses that have second-itis. He's got a decent win percentage. This is one of those horses that I think you need to use underneath at least in an exacta or a try if you're playing. But I thought he was good enough that if he keeps on running his race, it might be good enough to win this race as well. So the 8 was a must-use for me. And then I go to the 9 Smile Brian, Luis Saez, and Noda. This was probably co-top pick with the 6 for me. Noda's hot right now. Luis Saez is hot. This is another horse that's showing speed and has really kind of passed the test since they started jumping this horse up in class. And one thing that I do look at, and I know we talk about all the time with Noda, don't be afraid when Noda is absolutely stepping a horse up in class where you feel like it doesn't belong. Okay? That's all I'll say about that. But I think the 9, and it's also the top Scotty pick, is extremely dangerous. So for me, it was 5 through 9.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought the 3 and 11 were even that I had here. I struggled to narrow. I was with you on the 6 though, and the 6 was the Scotty long shot at one point, and then it flipped over to the 7. I'm totally gonna sidetrack us, but you've heard me on this. These entries coming out so late is a killer for a handicapper. I mean,
Yeah.
we're trying to do a show on Thursday for Saturday races. Entries are coming out on Wednesday. I mean, what? I mean, like they weren't even not even 72 hours for entries. And then they're making the morning lines 48 hours. Luckily, we have our own morning line, but I couldn't even handicap till last night, right? We got to do a show today. I mean, it's tough, but
it is tough. And that's why I have so much respect for Lone Star Park, because they had their entries out like a week in advance. It was great.
Yeah, I don't, these big tracks, and I'm guessing it has something to do with the horsemen and just entries and how they put a race card. But I wish we could figure this out where we had like 5 days at least, before the race. And it's tough though to do a show on Thursday when we get entries on Wednesday, because both you and I have day jobs, man.
We do. Contrary to popular belief.
I thought Noble Thought was, and I'm probably getting skewed by Loscano a little bit, but gosh, he is on fire. My buddy Chris was telling me, he last weekend or something, he texted me, I think it was Saturday or something, and he was just going crazy about Loscano. And but the crazy thing here, just to add on, you said top GSR. Also here, second best SOR. Look at that, performance. I mean, old timer here. I mean, this 8-year-old gelding, 12. I mean, this is a warrior. I love seeing horses like this. Has been running quite a bit. I mean, if you go back here, just missed in 64s, and this is the 62. And this race here was the 64 going 8.5. Didn't run, but I think probably too close to the pace is what I would say. If you go back, here is the favorite. I mean, the 6 is coming off the pace. I think there's space though. You talked about the 7, 8, or 9, so I think the 6 could definitely get the setup.
On that, Loscano's internal clock is working very, very nicely. So I do prefer Loscano riding a horse from off the pace there, like the 6.
Yeah. Junior, I don't know where old he is. Maybe he'll join us. He's been around. I don't know where he's at. He's probably playing the races. There's all these races that go on now on Thursday nights. Emerald's running, Charlestown, Canterbury. I mean, we could do a Scotty show on Thursday nights, but we're sticking to the Saturday preview show. The 11 scares me a little bit, to be honest with you. I don't know how often I rides for Wayne Potts. Looks like a little bit, and they do okay. When I looked at the 11, been racing quite a bit. Belmont, New York circuit, came over from Sam Houston. Been in tough. I mean, definitely thought a lot of him. He's an 8-year-old. If Irad was not riding here, I wouldn't probably look at this horse very much, but it does scare me a little bit, only from the perspective of Irad's going to give Vittori Ken a really good ride is my concern. And it's with the pace here, it has some potential. And then I thought that the 3 with Castellano was a little bit interesting, only because he was coming out of some tough races. But what I would say is I totally agree with you, but I think we need to add the 11. And so I'm going to regenerate, and then we're going to move on.
Irad needs some money too. He needs money. He's been offered 2 weeks. I don't know. Does anybody know if Irad got some disability or some unemployment stimulus or anything like that for being off for 2 weeks? He's got kids to feed, dude.
They must get some type of workers' comp payment or something, which I don't know how that's calculated, but for how much, I'm sure his average winnings or something, he does well. I don't know. Luckily he was back quickly. Good to see him healthy, and I'm glad he's back. Ticket generator here in race 8 is not even adding Top Gun Tommy, which is kind of scary. But what'd you think here?
This race came down to just the 4, 5, and 6 for me. And then I saw the 7, Scotty, but he's 50-1 morning line. What the heck? We got a Scotty horse in here. How disrespectful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How disrespectful that is. No, this race was the epitome of class. So if you want to go ahead and just sort the average SOR, let's show the viewers from top to bottom how spread out in class this race is. I have not seen a race that has been this spread out. We have a 68 on top in the 1, and then we have a 32 SOR in the 9 breaking stones. So, I mean, you can tell that some of these horses are way in over their head at just a starter allowance $50,000 race. But besides that fact, the top 2 Scotty picks were the 4 and the 5. And then I did like the 6 risk profile a little bit. And I know the ticket generator also liked risk profile. Top Gun Tommy, though, here, let's look at this angle. 6-1 morning line down to a 5-2 EE morning line. Half of the regular morning line, which is a great angle, saying that our system has a sharper morning line than what they're predicting right there. Secondly, we have a 45% win percentage. Okay, that's also a great thing too. And we have the second highest SOR. Since these horses are a little bit older, 3-year-olds and up, we know what they want to do. And so it's not like we have horses that are, trying something new for the first time. This horse has been racing on dirt its entire career, and he shows speed. So I want this Top Gun Tommy. And if 6-1's his morning line, EE's 5-2, I'm going to be playing this horse without a doubt. I mean, I'd be stupid not to, I feel like. And so besides that, I just didn't feel like Top Gun Tommy was single worthy. If we were going to single in the first leg, I could single him, and I actually will in some tickets, but not the 50-cent pick 5, so to say. I wanted to look at the 6 risk profile. This is a George Weaver horse that's definitely stepping up in class. But if we look at how he won his last race, he was eased up the last 16th of a mile, and he still won by almost 9 lengths. So this risk profile is a serious racehorse. He's an Into Mischief, which is killing it as a sire right now, especially going 1 turn, even going 2 turns. But I think Into Mischief produces a lot of great sprinters. And so everything adds up for me here on risk profile to take a step forward. And so I think a lot of times people will just look at the SOR and say, oh, well, he's a 46, he doesn't stand a chance. Well, no, because I think this horse is on the improve. And so I'm going to be willing to take a chance with a horse that's got maybe a 15-point less SOR that I think will pass the test because of how impressively he won the last race. I mean, he won by 9 going away, eased up the last 16. How easy does it get? Not a whole lot easier than that. And that was his maiden score. So something's changed with this horse, so I don't know if this horse had a different trainer before. This sure sounds like a Klarovich name. So I don't know did Chad Brown train this horse before and then George Weaver got it? I think that might be what happened. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the 6 has a great chance to stand up to the 4. The other horse that I kind of took a look at, but then the more that I think about it, I'm okay with leaving off is the number 5 Indian Counselor. You get Irad, and so which is always a positive because he needs money. And he rides 33% for this trainer as well. The horse is cutting back, trying the dirt now, and so if we look at his excuse me, I looked at the wrong one there. Sorry, he's been running on the dirt. He has a little bit lower GSR than some of the other ones I was looking at. So I don't know. The 5 was probably the next up for me, but really I was on the 4 and the 6.
Yeah, I like the 4 and 5. I didn't like the 6, so we'll definitely. I thought that the 6 was the toss favorite for me. Morning line favorite. I just and I understand where you're coming from. 2 angles here for me. Just broke maiden after 7 tries. That was a very weak maiden special. I mean, a 46, and he'd been running, back here in 60s and 52s and just doesn't want to win, third, second, and then it's got to drop, just rolls here. But what people don't know, right, is this is only a 46. Couldn't win a 44 claimer. Feel like, oh, like he finally won his main special. Well, yeah, this was a weak race. stretching out to 8 furlongs. You know, Cindy, you mentioned the 8, and I thought that this horse was very interesting for Eric Cancel. You know, when you look here, breaks the maiden in a 40,000 claim or a 46, then comes and runs in this kind of starter optional claim level, you know, starter allowance at 7 furlongs. In a 54, just misses. But I like here, good courage, you know, was wide a little bit here. You know, a 5-horse field, has speed, ran 3rd in a 68. Like a 68, I mean, I don't, is anybody even ran in a 68? No. I mean, this is I think that Purple Hearted, I mean, the thing is, and Karina, you mentioned this, like somebody did, I think it was Karina, you know, only 4%, but it's okay because you have a morning line angle here of 6-1 versus 10-1. So for me, it was probably the 4 in the 8. I thought that the 5 was interesting, but I like the 4 and 8 better than the 5. I just thought that the 5 has had a lot of chances, you know. I don't like that in this was 2 churns though. So I guess the more that I look at the 5, this horse loves 1 churn. I mean, look at this. Aqueduct 8 furlongs is 1 churn, wins a 56, wins a 52, wins in a 7 furlong, or gets second. But when this horse goes 2 churns, it doesn't run well. So that's interesting on the 5, I guess I would say. I don't know. What are we going to do here? I don't even, we like the 4, but I like the 8. I think the 5's interesting. You like the 6.
Yeah, and so here's what I was looking up. This 6 horse was previously trained by Chad Brown, okay? And the second that George Weaver claimed this horse, the horse popped. So if we go back to the 6 here real quick and look at all of the races except for the most recent one, that was trained under Chad Brown. And so for me, something clicked when they went to George Weaver. That's my angle on this one, is that I think this horse is a completely different animal in a new barn. And so maybe George figured out something with a couple of workouts. I don't know what it is, but sometimes you'll see with a trainer, certain trainers are really good at certain things. Everybody knows Chad Brown's a lot better turf trainer than he is on the dirt. And Bob Baffert is a lot better dirt trainer than he is on the turf. Well, so to say. But, you know, and when you change barns, something can happen. You know, it's kind of like you change jobs and then all of a sudden things start clicking for you. And sometimes it doesn't work out. So that's the only thing that made this horse a little bit scary and why I thought he could improve again.
Well, we're going to do this then. We're going to add the 8, we're adding the 4, and we're going to have to figure out what we do later. All right, race 9, non-graded stakes on the turf, 7 furlongs. I thought this, well, actually, the 3-horse. Yeah, this 3-horse with Lascano is like, the system loves this thing. I mean, this thing's 3-1 on the morning line for EquinEdge. The thing is 32%, and it's Scotty Longshot. I mean, you might as well just single this horse.
Everything adds up for this 3. It really does.
I mean, yeah, go ahead. Take us away.
What I want to know is, so John Velasquez is set to ride this horse. He's over at Ascot right now. So when's Johnny V coming back? Is he riding tomorrow at Ascot, taking a jet back and then riding at Belmont? If that's the plan, I hope he gets some sleep. I'm sure he's flying first class. But as far as an EquinEdge perspective, this is one of those once in a half a year slam dunk type of horses, according to the system. I mean, everything adds up for this horse, Justin, especially how awful the morning line is. 15-1 on this horse? How in the world?
I think it's because this, and we talked about this last week, and you just talked about it a minute ago. A horse is going from a claiming race into a stakes race is very difficult. This one at least won. I made the special weight. You know, so and sorry, my note was on the 8 with Lascano, who I think is really interesting as well. But I don't, you know, I think that's the issue here. You know, the morning line odds makers is looking at that, but for whatever, this is like true. This when we have EquinEdge, right? This is the use of the tool right here. Like nobody else is going to know. You have an algorithm of Scotty Longshot. You have an algorithm of win percent at 32%. You have a morning line algorithm that says this horse should be 3-1. Like that's just insane. You have three. I mean, what else? I mean, is there anything else? Look at all those GSRs. They're like literally the same. Good GSR. You know, you get Johnny V if he's coming over to ride. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. The system loves this horse. I mean, to be honest with everybody, I don't know if I've seen something quite this like all over like this. It's the Scotty Longshot because of the algorithm, and we know that's a great algorithm. It's like a huge ROI. And then you have the morning line and win percent. I mean, I think in this race, we just take a couple horses since we added a few horses in the last race, and we have to use the 3, obviously. But who else did you like?
I like Dreamer's Disease here, the 6 horse that Diodoro has in with David Cohen. I thought this horse was going to definitely be a threat. You know, they ran him in the Pat Day Mile and kind of got, you know, way outclassed. I mean, let's be honest. And so I love the class droppers coming out of graded stakes down to non-graded stakes. It's kind of like, hey, we're just taking it on the chin, but maybe we're not going to start on the A team, but maybe we can win a game for the B team. And so, you know, if you look at the races that this horse is coming out of, a 78 SOR and then a 72, didn't factor in either of them. But, you know, now he's coming back down to this level, going 1 turn. You know, they tried 2 turns, didn't really work out for the horse. So I think that there's something here. They had high hopes for this horse. I mean, I remember when we were talking about this horse like 8 months ago when we were leading up to the Breeders' Cup. You know, this horse actually ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And so this is the ultimate, started off early as a stud, okay? Not literally in the horse world, but like, come on, our world. This horse was killing it. And so they're like, let's take a swing as a 2-year-old in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Okay, that didn't work out. And his last 3 efforts haven't been that great, but they've been against world beaters. I mean, come on. You know, the fields that this guy's facing, you know, Jackie's Warrior, you know, Essential Quality, that's who this horse is going up against. There's no Jackie's Warrior or Essential Quality in this field. So I thought that the 6th Dreamer's Disease was a must-use. If he is a glimpse of his previous self, he should be able to contend in this race. The other horse that I was a little bit on the fence about adding, I mean, I definitely like the 3 and the 6, and those are the 2 I'm going to be using in some softer tickets or some shorter tickets. I do like tossing the favorite here, Sinful Dancer. I really don't like this horse. And I'll show you why from a morning line to EE morning line perspective. This is a huge teller for me. And we talk to Scotty about this all the time. Very seldom do we, you know, not like a horse that's got a double or triple, and in this case, almost a quadruple EE morning line compared to his morning line. More times than not, those horses don't even factor, let alone win the race or hit the board. So I was totally against this 14 horse Sinful Dancer.
I had to find the horse because it took me a long time because it had already been cut off again.
Yeah, all the way at the bottom. The other horse that kind of intrigued me here was the 4, Ocala Dream. This is a Tom Morley horse the Junior Alvarado is getting up on. And so broke his maiden last time out. And so he was steadied a couple of back, and he has some excuses. So I definitely upgrade those horses. And in this spot, I do feel a hunch on him. I think that the ticket generator, the win percentage really likes him as well. And so I was willing to get the 4 a shot. I did not like the 14 or the 13. And so what did you think here?
Yeah. I see your comment on the 4. Going back to Dreamer's Disease, I'm glad. Siri thought I was talking to her for a second. Dreamer's Disease, you know, and this horse is fine on the turf. Look at that. I mean, nice spread horse between the dirt and turf. You know, obviously would rather go a little bit shorter per GSR plus 6, 6.5, and then 7, I think becomes a little bit of a question mark. But to your point, you know, this horse is going to show speed, cutting back from a route on the dirt, like third off the layoff. Very sneaky here for Diodoro and Cohen. I mean, could really surprise on the board. I thought that Market Alert was really interesting. The crazy thing about this, you guys, this horse is 2%. I mean, I don't even know if I've ever seen a 2% horse be top Scotty pick. Talk about conflicting algorithms. The thing here, Escano on the turf, 7 furlongs. This horse has never been on the turf. First time. When you look at GSR Plus, though, 62 at 7 furlongs. I mean, good work by James. Was it Ryerson? I mean, knows where to place the horse on the turf. What else do I got here? Missed the 72 here on the dirt last out. Won a 66 on the dirt back here at 6 furlongs. That was at 7 furlongs and Scotty's top pick. So, the two, Cindy, I actually I like this horse before I started looking at stuff. I still do like the two. Won a 64 last out on the turf. Lightly raced, for sure can improve. Gets a GSR increase, so definitely is fine going 7 furlongs over. Must have ran 6 furlongs. Yeah, there. The morning line doesn't like the horse, which I don't love. These horses where EquinEdge has it like 2+ times above the morning line, they don't win very often. They win, but not very often. That, only 6%. For me, so what Eric's saying, Dancing Buck. Who's Dancing Buck? Oh, the two. Is a turf horse with a place and a win on the turf. Yeah, I mean, lightly raced. I mean, and wants the turf, wants to go longer. I think that was a 64. Came off the speed here. So Manny Franco, I thought was interesting. Did you like the 13 at all?
I didn't. No, I didn't care for the 13 in this spot or the 14. 13's second Scotty pick. He makes a lot of sense. He's coming from too far back for me. That's the thing that I didn't like, is that this horse has no gate speed. And when you're going 7 furlongs, that is a very tough task. It's right in between that sprint distance going 1 turn and then that long 1 turn mile where you do have the time. So for 7 furlongs, I do not like a horse that's going to be sitting 8th, 9th, or 10th at first call. And so for me, I would probably like Step Dancer under other circumstances. I would probably like Step Dancer going a mile. Or maybe, I definitely would not like him shortening up to 6 furlongs. So let's look at GSR Plus on this horse and just see. I haven't looked at the plus on here yet for him. But, they need to send this horse longer. He's a 65 going 7 furlongs in the turf. Look at how this horse gets better as he goes longer. So this Barkley tag, he needs to look at EquinEdge. Somebody give Barkley tag a business card with a QR code for a 3-month subscription, because he needs to see that Step Dancer does not need to be going 7 furlongs. He needs to be going at least a mile, maybe longer. So if you're listening, Barkley, I would give that one a shot next.
Well, and has been going 8.5 and went 8 at Gulfstream, which is a 2-turn mile on the turf. So why he places him here, while he's New York bred. That's why. I mean, he's a 3-year-old New York bred colt. And so, I don't know I don't know who the owner is. It's not showing, but whoever the owner is
Sakatoga. Is it Sakatoga stable? Or
I bet it's probably, you might be right. I mean, that's why this horse is here, but it's a bummer because this horse does not want to go 1 turn 7 furlongs. I mean, it's interesting, Brady, is this Step Dancer, especially if Step Dancer does not run here, watch for this horse at Saratoga, right? If this horse can find a state bred race at Saratoga going 2 turns, you're probably going to get a great price. Like that's, There's the angle for Step Dancer. Like, don't run well, show up at Saratoga at 10+1, right? And blows up the board in a New York bred turf stakes.
I'm putting in a note right now. Bet with both hands if going a mile and a 16th.
I need to do the same. Bet at Saratoga going 2 turns. And the problem is I'm going to have to here. Based on GSR plus.
And bet with both hands, not just one. You need to take your left wallet out with your right wallet and put them both on that horse going longer. But not on Saturday. Not on Saturday.
So let's go to the last, and let's see what we can do in the last. Well, I cut a lot of horses off, so maybe we'll get lucky here. We only got 2 horses, but we could go cut somewhere else if we feel like we need to add here over elsewhere. I know we were kind of conflicting on a couple sequences, and Scotty always tells me this. He just says, "Well, add all the add the horses together. Don't disagree with each other and cut horses, because then when one of the horses comes in, you're going to get mad at the other person, right?"
Of course, I'll hold it against you.
Yeah. What's what'd you think here? Maybe we can agree and we'll make it easy.
I eliminated 8 horses with the iTool. And so that made this horse a lot more clear and simple for me than what it was at first. I'll look at a lot of these races and say, my gosh, what do you do here? It's a $25,000 maiden claimer. It's a rough one. And there's a whole bunch of horses that have had a lot of chances and they still haven't won yet. So I have a lot less confidence sometimes in these races. But in this instance, I did like a few things that I saw. The 4 horses that I landed on were the 4, 6, 7, and the 12, with the 12 being my top pick. And the reason why I like this 12 so much is if we go to Handy View, they started this horse off sprinting when he was a 2-year-old, or she, sorry, Maria's Gift. And, horse really didn't find herself, and wasn't really competing. Then they're like, okay, started the 3-year-old campaign. Let's try 2 turns. Maybe she's going to appreciate some more distance. And she actually did some great running. She actually started finding the lead in those races. And oftentimes when you see that sprint to route move, when a horse is going longer for the first time, that horse is going to show more speed because it's going against horses that are used to going a route distance. So then she started getting the lead, and she almost won a couple of these, but just really wasn't good enough. I think she's grown and matured, and I like that she's out of Violence. Violence is one of my favorite sprint sires. And so we think of the horse last year that I think would have won the Breeders' Cup Sprint handily, Volatile. But unfortunately, the Asmussen colt got hurt, and we didn't get to see the best of him. But, he was out of Violence. And so I really like this 12. They cut back last time, finished 3rd, showed speed, got bumped outside at the break. And so, I got some excuses there. 30% win percentage, second top Scotty pick, a decent SOR. I really like this 12 in this spot. The 6, Bella Dominica, you can't disrespect. I do not like what happened to her when they tried the turf. She got beat by 30 lengths, but they're coming back to the dirt, and her dirt form from a strength of race perspective is more than good enough to win at this level. We're looking at an SOR same race of 42. And this horse has been facing 52, 52, 48, 46. And so I think, you get Ortiz up for Rudy Rod. That's usually a good thing when you come to Belmont. And so I thought the 6 couldn't be disrespected. You got to look at the Scotty Longshot, at least for a little quick second. I think he's a player or she's a player in here as well from an SOR perspective. And then I also looked at the 7 Tootsie's Song. I'm not the biggest fan of the way that Joel's been riding the last 5 or 6 weeks, but George Weaver, first-time starter. I will always pay close attention to a claiming race with a first-time starter going against a bunch of horses that have raced 10 times and still haven't won. So the system likes this from a win percentage. The system also likes it from an EE morning line. And then, the GSR is a 57. Okay, well, not the best thing, but not terrible either. So I thought the 7 Tootsie's Song was worth a consideration, especially at 8-1.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, so we're gonna have to figure out what to do here. The only, I thought that the 6 was really interesting. only 8%, top Scotty pick, 0 for 13, but, toss the turf race. And the horse has a bullet work here too, which I thought was nice, really nice. It was up at Saratoga, so ran at Belmont and May 7th, trading up at Saratoga. And I don't know for New York how often they ship these things back and forth for training and running and all of that, but comes back to Belmont. So it was up training at Saratoga, really nice work here on June 2nd. June 10th runs a bullet work and then comes back here to run. So I don't know, maybe Rudy didn't want to let the horse wait and wants to run. This, has been running though. I mean, run the New York circuit and can't break its maiden. But when I looked, so tossed the turf race and the 8 post here, wide, struggled, here ran a nice race in a 48. This is only a 42. Then you start going here. These are all tough races. And look how many times this horse was on the rail. 1, 2, 3, 4 times on the rail here. So I think a lot of people will look over this and you get Irad. So that's nice. I thought the 4 was interesting too. Scotty Longshot, price play, big drop in class, was in the 10 hole here as the favorite and big drop. I think tossed that race. And this horse is got a big drop here for Eric Cancel. I saw, the 7 first time starter, 27%. I see what you're saying on the 12. I do worry a little bit about the post there, but the horse has speed. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think the 1, it kind of fits. I mean, lightly raced, dropping, cuts back, has, but, so I don't know. What are we going to do here? We want to, we're going to have to cut somewhere. So
I'm good. I just needed the 6 and the 12 for me. And so if you thought that we needed anything besides 6, 12, I'm okay with that. We can cut somewhere else.
No, I think we're good. Let's we're going to do that. I like the 6 we're leaving off the Scotty Longshot. So for viewers, what you can do is for $120. Oh, why did for 81? Oh, I didn't lock the races. Hold on. So for $120, you can add the 4, but I got to fix this. So give me a second. There's the $80 ticket for $80. If you want to add in the last race, you can add the 4 and that'll make it $120 if you don't want to leave off the Scotty Longshot. That would be my perspective. You could add the 7, first-time starter. I think, to Brady's point, I think that's interesting there as well. Joel Rosario. If the 7 was Scotty Longshot, for sure, would probably add, first-time starter Scotty Longshot. So this is a good ticket. I think that'll be interesting. You could, you could play the pick 4 and single in the last 2, or try to beat one of there's gonna pay. I think there's some really good prices along the way. Since we're gonna be action hour and a half, let's move to Churchill. There's a lot of tracks.
The card. This is the card, and I like Churchill a lot today.
There's look at all these races on Saturday. Pleasanton running the fair meet. Oh, is LaSalle must be getting ready to run daytime, but there's a bunch. Columbus, I don't know where that is. Chippewa Downs, Wyoming Downs, Ruidoso. I mean, man, there's Monmouth running with no whips, no props. Lethbridge up in Canada, gotta love that. There's Gulfstream. All right, we're going to Churchill. Look at that, 11 race card. Good for them to continue just having great cards. I'm with you, though. I thought this was a nice sequence. So race 7, allowance, optional claim. This is a nice allowance race. I mean, a 72 SOR for allowance, $100,000 purse. Where'd you land here?
This is a great race. I mean, you got a couple of horses, or one of them coming out of the Preakness in Ram. You've got Cazadero, who was Asmussen's pride and joy before Jackie's Warrior came along last year. And you got Joe Frazier for Brad Cox. My top pick, though, is the other Brad Cox, the number 1 Vulcan, the horse that Gaffleo and Cox are going to break from the inside. And I think this horse is going to be very sneaky at 8-1. He is the Scotty Longshot. But let's take a look at Vulcan here. He comes out of a 72 SOR, and which is about on par with the rest of these levels here. And so you get 16% win percentage. You get a little bit lower EE morning line. I just think that this race is going to set up perfect for this horse to just stalk, potentially right off of Cazadero. And so if we look at some of the other horses in the race, Rams kind of had his chance, and he finally stepped up in class, and the Preakness was just way over his head. We get Sitting on Go Again, which I'm not sure when Dale Romans is going to get this horse in the right spot, because, man, I mean, you're talking this horse was grade 3, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 2, grade 2, grade 2, grade 3, and he hasn't finished better than 5th since he won the Iroquois in 2020. And so, he's finally dropping him down into a level where he fits a little bit better. I'm not using him yet, but, something to consider there. You got Joe Frazier, who won at Keeneland 2 back. They stepped him up to the Pat Day Mile, and he kind of got the socks blown off of him. So at the end of the day, I ended up on the 1 and the 7 here. I thought the 1 was the best value of the day, though. I will be playing the 1. And especially if it's an 8-1 morning line, I don't expect you to get that. I expect this horse to probably go off closer to 5-1. And so the other thing is I got to see this horse win in person last year at the Indiana Derby, which was cool. So, he lost that day. I was thinking of She Dares the Devil. He was a huge favorite. He was like 2-5. And so we were hammering this horse, singling him, and that was not the time to play him. He ended up winning his next 2 starts. I think this horse is on the improve. His workouts have been phenomenal. Gaffleon's been riding very well. And if you've been watching Churchill, at least today, speed was absolutely killing everything. And so I expect Gaff to get this horse up and close to the pace. And who knows, he might even try to get the lead. But the 1-7 for me, who I wanted here.
Gary, let me know if you're talking Belmont or Churchill, just so I'll flip back to Belmont if I screwed something up. I know that when I was messing around there, the ticket generator decided to change something. I thought I got it back right, but let me know, because I want to make sure that we kind of follow what we were doing and we didn't screw something up. But if we're talking Churchill, I'll talk about the 5 and 6 in race 7 here. But when I looked at this, the 1 was not the Scotty Longshot; it was the 4. So I think maybe I made a wrong note, but I'm with you on this 1 horse, Vulcan. I mean, it is going to get significantly overlooked. I love that the morning line likes it. From the rail, Gaff, has shown tactical here. This was a 68, lightly raced. Sitting on Go. Dale Romans, I just don't know what to do with his horses most of the time anymore. Like, sometimes I like a horse and just doesn't run. I just don't think he places his horse in the right spot, right? So you see that here. He finally puts Sitting on Go in a race he can win. I don't know. I feel like this horse's confidence is probably shot, though. He's been running month after month after month and just in way too tough. I'm with you on the 1 and 7. I thought that Joe Frazier was actually a little bit interesting, cut back from 8 to 7 here. I do think this horse will get a good trip. I think, broke his maiden, very tactical at Keeneland. I think that he, didn't run at all in the Pat Day here. It'll be interesting on what Flo does here for Brad Cox, but I'm with you on the 1 and 7. So why don't let's just go with the 1 and 7 here, and we'll regenerate. And then Gary, again, remind me if we're talking Belmont or Churchill. Let's go to the 8th. So EquinEdge just got me all confused. This is blue now. Now the ticket generator. This didn't used to be blue before. Somebody made some changes. So this was 50,000 claimer on the dirt, going 6.5. what do you think here?
This race was interesting to me because I felt like there were two races in the sequence where we're going to be able to go very, very short. And then there were three races that gave us the potential to spread. And race number 8 at Churchill is definitely a race where I'm looking to spread. What I do here is like what we do for every kind of races. You go through and you try to see what horses can I absolutely eliminate that have no chance of winning. That was hard for me on this one because I think that there's a lot of horses that are on the same level, and we can tell that from an SOR perspective. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 horses within 2 points of each other on an SOR. So all these horses have been kind of beating up on each other at the same level for a while now. And so I didn't want to really get too greedy on tossing a lot of these horses or singling because I didn't really find a secure single. A lot of people are probably going to go to the 5 Azar, the Mike Maker, Tyler Gaffleone into Mischief. So I see it. I do. But, as far as a single here, I mean, it doesn't look that promising like as a slam dunk. And so I think that horse will probably be the favorite, but this is a favorite that I would sure like to beat, but then also include on my ticket here. I did like the number 11 Silver Ratio a bit because he is dropping down a little bit, coming out of the highest SORs. And so, like we say time and time again, I do like these horses, trying that for, against a little bit lighter competition. Okay. I like that. I like Ron Marquette, really, especially going one turn more than 2 turns. The win percentage is 14, and so you get a good GSR as well. Second highest GSR and highest SOR was really my case here. And so definitely wanted to at least give the 11 a look. The number 2 Extreme Force, I think, is going to be tough. This is the Asmussen and Santana team. Even if you look at Asmussen's running lines, you'll see a lot of his horses will, they'll come out of Oaklawn or they'll go to Churchill or Sam Houston or somewhere, and it may or may not be so impressive. And then all of a sudden, the horse gets the right setup, and then he absolutely just finds his stride and airs. And so that's what I'm thinking could be happening here on the 2 Extreme Force. Has the highest GSR, which tells you this horse is definitely a sprinter out of Constitution. And so Asmussen just kind of keeps him running here. But the one kind of thing that I'm seeing is, who's going to go grab the lead? And if it's not going to be the favorite, it might be just a scramble to where a bunch of horses that may or may not want the lead are going to be up there. And so for me, this was a toss up. I mean, I'm probably not going to be playing any short tickets through this race, trying to like really solidify a stone cold, couple of horses here. I liked the 3 Mahomes Money a little bit. I liked, you got to take a look at the 4 Top Gunner, the Scotty Longshot. Maybe he's the speed of the speed for John Ortiz. Another into Mischief there. You got to look at Pirate Rick. He's going to be showing speed for Romans, who we just got done saying, wasn't putting the horse in the right spot. But if we look at this race, this horse fits here, Top Gunner, and he does show speed on a very, very much speed favoring track right now. And so, for me, I'm open to anything. I was even looking at the 9 Mr. K a bit. This race honestly confused me. And so I looked at it twice, and I really still don't know who I want here. So this is one of those sequences where, man, I might, I don't know. I don't want to hit an all button if I don't have to, but can you make a case for anybody? Because I'm really having a hard time.
No, I couldn't. I mean, this is probably the race I had the least amount of notes on because I'm like, this race is it's a scramble, man. I mean, and you can see it in the win percents. I mean, if the 5 wins, it kind of sucks because it kills the ticket. But I'm with you. I don't really trust this 5 horse. I thought that, I liked the 4. You can see my kind of notes up there. I like the 2, 4, 5, on like a really slim ticket. But for sure, I would add all types of coverage. I can see the 8. I can see the 6. I can see your 11. I mean, if we look at the win percents, I don't know. Did we talk about the 6? He's a babe. Lannery for Tomlinson. I mean, maybe he has speed. I don't know. Here never a threat. Here didn't show speed, was wide. I mean, this horse fits. I mean, it was in the slop here, though. So I don't know. But I'm with you. I think this race is wide open. Let's see what the generator just wants to use the horses I grabbed, which are the 2, 5, 8, and 11, or the 4 and the 4. Do you want to grab anything else besides that?
Maybe we'll come back to that one. I'll tell you, this race stumped me. Racing stumped me. And so I'm going to heavily rely on the ticket generator in this sense, because we've looked at every algorithm here. The 5's definitely going to be the horse to beat, you would think, but I don't feel comfortable singling him. So I'm going to take as many horses as we're allowed in race number 8. And I think I might be onto something on race number 9 here.
So I'm looking back. Sorry. Oh, Gary, you were saying, yeah, we good catch, Gary. So I oh, I see. I gotta remember to lock these. That's what happened. So 4, 6, 8. Okay, there's the I guess there's the ticket. I think we're just gonna go with it for Belmont. So for everybody, if you want to look at that real quick, if you want to add the 4 in the last, you're gonna, what's that, 36? So you're gonna pay $108 to add the 4 in the last. I think I messed up our ticket when we generated it because I didn't lock it. So there's the ticket. No, we didn't even have the 8 here though. Hold on. I really screwed this up. Maybe that was it. I don't remember anymore. Yeah, I think that's it. Because we didn't have the 1 and 2 here. So $72. Sorry, y'all. All right, we're flipping back to Churchill.
Race number 9. Yep.
All right. So lock that. There we go. Okay. Race 9. What'd you think here?
Yeah, this race was interesting to me. I eliminated a bunch of horses here, and I'm kind of taking a stand against the 4 here, which I think will go on to be the favorite, Take Charge Row. I didn't like him. I liked the 5, Lake Lucerne. This horse is Brendan Walsh and Julian Lecaroux, and this horse comes over from across the pond and is owned by Godolphin out of Dubawi. And so this is one of those horses where, he shows up against these Americans and absolutely, takes care of business the first time at Churchill in a $100,000 allowance race against 3-year-olds and up. And so I really think very highly of this 5 horse. Maybe the 5 is going to be the favorite over the 4. I think that might be the case now. And so I really have a strong opinion on the 5 here. I also love that the 9 Wittez ended up being the Scotty long shot. This is a horse where I think if he gets a little pace in front of him, could definitely be a factor late coming down the lane. I like who this horse has faced. He's coming out of Great Stakes Company, late last year. Early this year, they got him into an allowance, and I think he's just kind of waiting for the right setup for him, and he needs a little bit of pace. And so what I'm hoping with Landeros is that he's going to take this horse well off the pace, maybe sit about 6th or 7th, and then if it's the day where the pace is hot at Churchill, this is where he's going to try to fly down the lane. And so, I do like the 5 and the 9 as my top 2 selections here. I did give a little bit of a look to the 7, Maker and Gaffleon. The horse has been right there just about every time he's ran. And so, he's one of those, what do you call him? Horses that digs in, has a lot of heart, doesn't really want to get past. And so I think that the 7, Enjoy It While He Can, 5-year-old mare at Quality Road is going to factor here. And I was able to make a case against all the other horses I eliminated. So when I was done with the elimination period, these are the 3 horses that I landed on.
Yeah, yeah, I'm laughing because, last week I loved Maker and Gaffleone, and it was, claiming angle coming in. I love enjoy it while you can. The angle here is, look at the posts here. 12 posts, 10 posts, 10 posts. We talked about the post with Mr. Tip. But a second, a first, a third, a 64, a 60, a 64. This is a very competitive race. But for me, 7 was by far the top pick. Actually, I think that the 3 from a GSR play is really, really interesting. So when you look at the 3 horse for Eddie Keenley, you have a 62 SOR here, ran well, 58, 62, 60. Didn't like going 9.5. Gets here where should love from a GSR plus at 9. In form, running well. We lost Brady, so I'll just keep going. But, I think that the 3 is really interesting, 7%. So for me, I think we definitely need the 3. Brady talked about the 7. I would agree. The 5, we for sure need. He liked the 9. We talked about the 4 some. The 11, yeah, I mean, Karina, I looked at the 11. I thought that the 11 was interesting, very competitive, lightly raced. James Graham, 8-1 on the morning line, 7-1 EquinEdge. Are you saying that, they've been racing together? You're right. The last 2 races, the 11 was right there with the 7. The thing about that though, is think about it from this perspective. Look at the 7 on those posts. And there's Brady. He's joining us again. Look at the 7. Look at the 7 there on these posts. So the 7 running better than the 11. The 11's right there. Look at the posts on the 7 though. 12, 10, 10. Look at the 11. So the 7's getting a better post. The 11 is going outside, had been running. So that would be the only thing I would say for the 11, right there. But Brady, I was saying the 3, I think, is very interesting. Top GSR, gets back to 9 furlongs here, has run really well, ran well here at a 60 from the 10 hole, ran well, and I guess didn't run well, there from the 9 hole. But here, good posts and running in 62s and gets an inside post. But I'm with you on the 9 as well. For me, it was 3, 9, 5 underneath the 7. Although I really do like the 3. I think a 3-7 here is huge. The 7, I liked Mr. Tip last week for Maker and Gaffleone. I guess I'm going with enjoy it while we can as the 7 this week, because I think that this is a perfect spot for this horse. I think horse is in form. It's running really well. Should get, I don't know how this horse was 9-1 here or, 13-1 here. It's running really well and competitive. I guess was stepping up in class. So, are we tossing the 4? Take a charger up?
I'm down to toss.
I didn't love the 1s. The system really likes the 1s from a morning line perspective, but I wasn't in love. Anything you think we need the 1?
I don't think so. No, I tossed the 1 and the 1A. I didn't think we needed the entry either.
What about the 11?
The 11's coming from the clouds. And so I much prefer Jimmy Graham on the lead than I do coming from the clouds. And I just think of some of the others in this race, and I think Gaff's going to be a little bit more tactical with the 7. I don't think he's going to have him that far back. You know, the 9's going to be mid-pack. And then, you know, the 5's going to also be coming from the clouds as well that I really liked. And so to me, this was kind of a paceless race all around. And this is a European race. That's what this is. This is a pack race. And so that's why I really favor the 5 because of the back races in his history. And so, yeah, I mean, this is, and a lot of people will say, well, okay, if it's a paceless race, then we got to single whoever's low in speed. Not always the case. Sometimes what happens is that they invite these closers into the race to be up closer to the rest of the horses. Oftentimes we'll see at like Belmont where there's 25 lengths that separate first and last. Rosario's on the horse in last, and then all of a sudden you blink your eyes 5 times and he's already passing all the horses up to first. But that's different, you know. And here at Churchill, it is a longer stretch, and it does a lot of times. I think Churchill's turf course plays friendly to closers, but I just don't see any speed in here that I'm really in love with. And so, I mean, this is going to be a very interesting race. Maybe the 4 is the speed, and that's what Van Dyke's going to try to do, but he hasn't been really winning on some mounts that he's been on favorites. You know, I think of today, you know, he was on a mount and he let Ricardo totally outride him. I mean, Ricardo got the 9 up for Maker, and Drayden was riding the Amos horse today. And I was all over the Amos horse, but he really didn't get put in the race. And so I think Ricardo is beginning to ride a lot better for not just Steve Asmussen. I think he's really starting to turn the corner with Mike Maker as well. And so, you know, I don't trust Van Dyke on the front end here. And so that's why I'm probably looking elsewhere. And, you know, my top pick was the 5. I did like Witez here at a price. I mean, if we're going to get something, you know, around 8-1 or higher, I bet you we'll get higher for this Wilkes and Landeros team on Witez.
Yeah, you're right about the pace. I mean, the 6, I don't trust the 6 on the lead, to be honest. I mean, this horse is probably the speed. I mean, you can see back at Gulfstream. Yeah, I think so. I think this is cheap. I mean, did win a 60 here, though, wire to wire with the easy lead. Not, you know, Karina, you're right with the 1A. I mean, I have my notes here. 1A, 6, and 8 are the speed. I think, Eric, you know, I want to talk about the 8. So the 1A, you know, the thing is, the 1A is an entry. So I don't even know if the 1A is going to get in the race. So, you know, then that takes it down to the 6, and the 8, yeah, has some speed as well, you know. And I think, Eric, to your point, you know, if you go back to 9 furlongs here, 1 close to the lead in a 60, you know, so I could see Hernandez, you know. What's the note here? Winner here was clearly the best. The rest of the field, the winner was the best. The rest of the field was kind of weak. So ran second versus, you know, a tough horse's winner. So, I mean, I could see the 8 maybe. I mean, for me, the 7 still. I think the Gaff's going to have this horse closer. I think that by having a better post, I think it's going to end up in a better position. And I just think that from a class perspective, the 7's a little bit classier than the 6 or 8. So, but I think I could see liking the 8 from a pace perspective for sure. The system doesn't like it from a morning line, but not to say. And then, so, yeah, Karina, I saw the morning line on the 1A. I mean, 4-1 from 15 to 1. I mean, I get it. I don't think this is tough because if the 1A gets in, you know, I can definitely see there's potential here. I didn't necessarily love the 1. You know, I just don't see a lot here. Can't win in 60s. I mean, the 1A is the horse. So, you know, I guess if the 1A gets in, maybe that's interesting. We're going to pretend it doesn't get in, I guess. But if it does, then I think the 1A. I can see the 8, Eric. I mean, I can. I mean, been close to the speed. Not a lot of pace here. I just don't know if she's good enough. You know, I'm not sure. You know, we're going to go 3, 5, 7, 9. You good with that, brother?
Yep, absolutely.
We'll lock that. Wants us to find a single, and it's telling us the single sconson in the 10th. What do you think here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I looked at 3 horses here. I looked at Bell's the One, I looked at Four Graces, and I looked at Sconson, and I tried to make a legitimate case for each of them. And my first toss off was Bell's the One. If I'm going to have to take Bell's the One and Sconson coming from the same type of trip, because they're going to both get similar trips. They're not going to be on the pace. They're going to be off of it. They're going to make one run in the end. Sconson is by far the better horse than Bell's the One. And so for me, I was not going to use both of them. I was going to choose one or the other because they're both going to be about 4 to 5 and probably 8 to 5. And so oftentimes when you're in a situation like that, you got to choose a side, and I will side with Tyler Gaffleone and Sconson. Four Graces was the one horse in here that I thought could maybe screw everything up with the speed factor. So let's look at the other horses. The one is a cheap speed, is going to go, and then the 2 is going to show a little bit, but is just not fast enough to keep up with the 3. Laperoux's going to go for Wilkes. And then the 6, Jungle Juice, is going to show a little bit of speed. But I just don't think that these speeds are quite what Four Graces is and wants to do. But then I looked at the Lasix factor, and Four Graces is actually making a change and coming off Lasix. And so that was a big factor for me. Now that she's, this is a non-graded stakes. And so who knows how she's going to react off of that, because her whole entire career she's run with Lasix on. So then I look at some other horses like Sconson, who her last 3 efforts have been without Lasix, and she's actually improved in her last 2. I'll make a statement here. I think Sconson is going to be the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint champion this year. I really do. I think this horse, as being a 4-year-old, is really turning a corner. Okay, came back off of a long layoff in the Madison and didn't run. That was off of a 5-month layoff. I'm going to excuse that one. Came back in the next. This was on Derby Day to lose to Gamine. And we all saw that performance live. Well, some people will probably argue with me, oh, Gamine's the best sprinter in the country. Yeah, but under the circumstances that we are under now and the microscope under the Baffert barn, I have to be skeptical of all these horses just by default now. And so who knows? Gamine's already been disqualified, I think, at least twice previously. And so there's a toss-up right now for who's the best female sprinter. And so I'm going to side with Sconson right now. That's my early pick. Look at these workouts. My goodness. She is working out fast. And for a horse that runs to her style to be outworking all these other horses going 4 furlongs, bullet works in the morning, that tells me a lot. So Sconson, I think, is an absolute slam dunk single. I was going to include Four Graces till I talked myself off of it because I thought maybe Laperoux could get her loose on the lead. But then I came back down to reality and I said, you know what? I think Sconson's going to win the Breeders' Cup, and this is going to be a stepping stone to that.
Yeah, and she loves Churchill, man. I mean, look at that. I mean, 5 races on average, making 86 Gs. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, she's made lifetime. I mean, my guess is all 4 of her wins are at Churchill. Churchill. So we're missing one of them. My guess is that other one's at Churchill with those type of stats. I'm with you. She's the single here, I think. I don't miss Mosaic. I think she's gonna sit off the speed, but I don't think she's good enough. Would be my guess. I just don't think she's good enough. For Colby Hernandez. But I didn't really like Bell's the One either. Nice horse. I mean, she is for Lannery, but I'm with you on Sconson. So, all right, let's go to the last, man. Oh, I didn't get to this race. I tried, man. These entries coming out so late kill me, man. I did not look at this race at all. I didn't even get to it, which is a kind of a bummer because it's a massive field on the turf and they're sprinting. Wow, these horses. I mean,
yeah. This is tough, Justin, because with it being a 15-horse field, we've got to consider both of the also eligibles. which will be the 14 and the 15. And so I included both the 14 and the 15 if they draw into the field. Okay, so if both of those draw into the field, they're going to be my top two picks in this race, the 14 and the 15. Do we handicap the race as if they're not going to draw in? I think we have to, because it's going to be nice, I believe, on Saturday at Churchill. It's been hot up here, and so we haven't gotten a whole lot of rain. And so I'm going to pretend that the 14 and 15 are not going to make the race. I think we just have to, right? I mean, I can't really
that
say
they are. They're going to make the race.
They are?
They're going to make it in. Yeah. Are there any horses in here that are main track only or anything?
Let me look here. And I'll have to look here. If we assume that they are going to make it in, then I got to look at the 14 and the 15. So let's assume that they're going to make the field. Okay, 15 is the top Scotty pick. Okay, you got to respect that. Yeah, it's a speed horse, Bejarano, 4-1 morning line. This is a maiden special weight, and this horse has had a couple of tries, and last time almost got it done in $100,000 maiden special weight here at Churchill Downs. And so this is another case of the horse is coming out of the same exact condition, had the lead, just tired at the end. I looked for this 15 to maintain the form and improve, but I'm not so confident in this 15 that it needs to be the only horse that we take. We got to look at the second top Scotty pick, the Walsh horse, the 7, Honorably. Hernandez is going to be up. This is a horse that's going to be taking the turf for the first time. And so, we've got to look at maybe the GSR angle here. GSR hates it. So to me, this 7 went from, hey, I'm really looking at you, to now I don't know if I want anything to do with you as far as making this move over to the turf. So the 7 was going to be a pick for me, and now I don't think I want anything to do with it. I'm looking at the 8, Miss Temptation. This horse went a distance and a route of 8 furlongs last time at Keeneland off of the debut. Had a lot of workouts before they ended up going to the track, which, some people say it's a good thing that they were really working the horse and they thought he was sitting on a big one. What they do is they wheel this horse back into a maiden special weight again, which gives me some confidence that they like how this horse may perform. So on a deep ticket like this, pick 5, I'm going to look at the 8. I looked at the 1 here. This is Ricardo and Steve. This is a dirt horse that's tried the turf on his debut, tried the dirt, couldn't win on the dirt. Now they're going back to the turf. To me, they're kind of playing ping pong here about what is this horse really going to be good at. But from a GSR perspective, if this horse is matured, the GSR states that it should be a turf sprinter. So I'm going to go and rely on the system on that one. We got to look at the 13, Nota Bene. This is a horse where they're cutting back for Laperoux, and his turf sprint effort was not bad. He only lost by half a length. And so I'm really going to look at the 13 here, and I like everything that I see. He's got a good GSR. He's coming out of SOR races that are comparable here. So I'm really looking top picks 13, 14, 15 happen to be all the outside horses.
Yeah, I mean, the 5, first-time starter, 1%er, top GSR, not going to do that. I like you with the 1. The 16, 3%, first-time starter, morning line doesn't like it. GSR plus, not from out there. We're going to have these. The 3, John Court doesn't really want to sprint on the turf. I don't see a lot with this horse. I mean, this race is kind of crazy because there's just so much. There's so many horses, and my guess is you're going to get these entries in because I think a bunch of these horses are going to scratch. They must even if they were not main track only, some of these horses just should not be in this race. And maybe they were looking for a wet track or something. I know that there was potential thunderstorms, but I think that they got rid of those. I mean, the 9 doesn't really have a shot. So You talked about the 8. Yeah, this Leperoux on the 8. Were we gonna you 13, 14, 15? The 8. Oh, the 8 was cutting back.
Yes.
Yes. What? But Leperoux's on the 13. Interesting. So, is this horse gonna run here? I don't think this horse wants to sprint on the turf, though. I mean, it's just crazy, right? I mean, no. I mean, not even close. I mean, look, horse wants to go 870 yards on the turf. one down the straightaway on the turf that needs to go and run in Royal Ascot. The 10, 7%, but the morning line doesn't like it. Anything we see on the morning line here? Not really. I'm with you. I think this is the 13, 14, 15, and you hope that they draw in. It's going to add one more horse for us. The Scotty Long Shot. So we'll go with the 12, 13, 14, 15. There's the ticket for $80. I'm with you. I mean, I don't. This is a tough race, though.
Yeah, and from a morning line perspective, I mean, 3-1, 7-2, 4-1. The top 3 favorites are all also eligibles. So that's what I'm looking at. If any of these horses get in, that's what I think you really need. Is look to the outside here. I mean, this field's crap compared to the also eligibles.
Yeah. No, you're right. Well, there it is. Good sequence, though. I think it's going to be nice. All right, brother. It was fun. So too. What else?
Yeah.
Anything else?
We're halfway through June. When does Del Mar start up? I think we're getting close.
Like a month from today. Month from tomorrow. Yeah. I think opening. I think opening night is. My birthday is the 15th of July, so I'm still considering potentially going to Del Mar for that weekend. I'm not sure yet, but nice. But we'll see. I need to plan out the summer a little bit. I'm a little behind the 8 ball here, but yeah, I think Friday night, right? A month from tomorrow. I'm pretty sure.
The 16th, opening Friday.
Yep.
And then Saratoga
4 weeks
is going to be July 15th, the opening Thursday. So yeah, we've got about 4 weeks before we got Del Mar and Saratoga, and so this racing, it kind of feels like the doldrum. It's kind of like the halftime show, or the All-Star break before we get the big guns back come Saratoga and Del Mar. So, I'm watching races. We're handicapping them, trying to, get ready for tournaments this fall. We got the NHC coming up in August. And so, we've just got to survive this time till we get to the big tracks again, So thanks for all the listeners. Thanks for all the viewers, all the questions. Tweet at us if you got questions during the week, show ideas, things like that. We're open. We want to make sure that this show is exactly what you guys want to see. And so, we can dedicate a whole show to a topic if we wanted to someday. Whether it's ticket structure that we talked about a lot about earlier today, or just strict handicapping, or really focusing in on verticals. Sometime. Hey, we're open to it, guys. Just let us know.
Thanks, brother, and I'm with you. That's why we we went 2 hours tonight. Action 2 hour.
Yeah, I gotta go to bed here soon.
Yeah, it's still sunny and like 80 degrees here, and it's only what time is it? It's 8 o'clock here, but it's 10 o'clock your time.
11. It's 11.
Oh, you're 3 hours ahead of me.
It's past my bedtime.
All right,
I'm on
brother.
Eastern time. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right. Good to see you. Thanks, everybody.